The theme of this week's video is thrifted boxes, and these are just 4 of the ones that I have in my stash, and we're going to do 4 different techniques and flip all these boxes this week. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and get started. Today I'm starting with this hat box that I thrifted. I have already cut out all the pieces of the La Folie paint inlay that I want to use on it. And I'm going to try doing a little bit different technique. I have mixed some prairie gray and a little bit of the fusion texturing powder. There's all kinds of products you could use to texture your paint, including salt wash, you can use baking soda, anything just to give it a little bit of texture. And for some added texture, for the first coat, I am pouncing this on with a chip brush. I just really want to get lots and lots of texture and see how a paint inlay works on that. For my second coat, I'm coming in with straight prairie gray, no texture additive, and I'm putting a very good healthy coat, making sure I get into all of those little peaks and valleys that I created earlier. And once I get this all painted on, I am going to mist my paint inlay and lay it into the wet paint. This is the La Folie paint inlay that was from the Iron Orchid Designs Christmas release. And it is so beautiful. I still have so much of it left, and I have used it so many times already. And the great thing about this one is the colors can go with any season. One of the trending colors this year for Christmas are these mauves and pinks, and so it's perfect to use for any time of the year. So once I lay my paint inlay paint side down into the wet paint, I'm now using my finger to make sure that it gets down in all of those little peaks and valleys that I previously created. And then finally, I'll give it one last spritz. I will use a bit of paper towel, dab off any of the excess, and then repeat the same process around the box. I want to really fill this up with lots of transfer. So the same process, wetting it, laying it in there, misting it again, and now that it's completely dry, and you can tell when it's dry, here is where the fun begins. To reveal it, you just mist it once again, let it sit just a minute, and then peel your backing off, and it will reveal that that paint has been inlaid into your wet paint. And it's just so much fun peeling these back. I knew this one would not be absolutely perfect because I'm putting it on all that texture, but I'm going for complete imperfection on this. I actually had a little bit more than I planned on, but that's okay. Once I get this one peeled off, I'm going to show you a few more reveals, but look how pretty that looks. I did the top and the sides and the tops of the lids. So I'm just going to show you the rest of my reveals, but while I do that, I want to tell you, if you have been afraid to try a paint inlay, there's really no reason to be. Once you get the hang of it, it's so easy, and it is so satisfying peeling these back and finding that beautiful work of art embedded into your paint. So don't be afraid. There's lots of them that you can cut up into individual smaller pieces until you get the hang of it. If you don't want to try a large piece, look how beautiful those roses are in this La Folie transfer. So once I got all the inlays down and it dried, you see all this discoloration we have here? That is because I cut those into pieces. If you use one large piece, you don't have that. I want to try to either highlight that or hide it using wax. And I don't know if I want to use a dark wax or a white wax. So I've got this as the bottom of the box. I want to see what looks better with the texture. So I'm just applying them side by side next to each other. And I think that I prefer the dark wax as usual. So I'm going over this entire thing with wax. And you can't do this directly over a paint inlay because it will smear. So before I applied this wax, I did do a clear coat sealer first. So just remember that. And now this looks like cement. There's still some discoloration, but it looks so intentional and like it's meant to be now. And I love how this hat box turned out. It's a really good size. You could decorate it up, or it would be absolutely beautiful to give a gift in one of these boxes. So y'all let me know down in the comments, would you have used the dark wax or white wax on this box? Box number 2 is this plain Jane wood box that I picked up for $1.99. Someone had put the name Kendra and a couple other things using a marker on the top. There wasn't an indentation or anything, so I thought I could just paint right over it. And for that, I am using Fusion mineral paint in the color Algonquin. It's a super neutral. It's coming off kind of gray here, but it's really more of a tan beige color. And I did have to do 3 coats to cover the bright Kendra. But once I got it covered, I'm coming in with a transfer from the Winter Botanist transfer book. This one is full of so many florals, winter florals and birds, and I just love it. So I'm going with the bird theme here. This gorgeous one has a nest on it. I am laying it down, and if you've never used an Iron Orchid Designs transfer, they're so easy to use, especially over this Fusion paint that has a built-in sealer in it. They go on like a dream and so easy to do. So I just pieced these together how I wanted. I even added another little bird on there, and now this box is ready to go. Such an easy transformation, but such a bold and beautiful statement. I added a layer of clear wax over this, the entire thing, just to seal in those transfers, give them a little bit of added protection, and then I wiped any of the excess back, and this one's all done. If you want to upcycle your own box or any thrift store makeover, all the Fusion mineral paint, DIY paint, IOD, decoupage papers, everything you could need is on my website, susieonthefarm.com. Number 3 is this little wooden chest, and it's pretty interesting as it is. It has a little bit of damage here and there, and I thought we could give it quite a bit more character. So I have mixed up some Sweet Pickins milk paint in the color cream. I do not carry Sweet Pickins. I do have Fusion milk paint, and there is a color in it that is very similar to this if you can't get your hands on the Sweet Pickins. And you just mix it with water. Usually I do about half and half, but it looks like I got this one a little too thick, but that's okay. I am going with it. Before I started painting this chest, because I've had lots of experience with it, anytime I find something with this dark color on it, it is definitely going to bleed through a light color paint. So I did do 2 coats of shellac, spray shellac, before I started this. And on my second coat of the milk paint here, I zapped it with the heat gun as it was drying, hoping to get this crackle, and yes, perfect crackle. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it does not, so I'm super happy it did on this one. Now I'm just taking a very light grit sandpaper and just dusting off any of the excess flecks, so I make sure everything is off of it. And now to seal this up, I am using Sweet Pickins dark oil wax. This is just a tiny bit that I had left over, but this stuff is like magic. You could also use a dark wax to get this same effect, but it stays into all of those little cracks, and look at the character on this. I had a little bit more chipping that I wanted, but that's okay. That is the beauty of milk paint, and I absolutely love how this box came out and just how unique and distressed it is. Let me know if you like this technique, or do you like the more clean look? My mom picked up this last box for me recently to upcycle. It's fabric. It's a little dingy looking, and I just feel like we could make it a whole lot better, but the bones of it are really great. The first thing I'm going to do is paint all that fabric with DIY White Swan. I'm doing that because I am going to be decoupaging on it, and this is recycled decoupage paper, and this is the newest Christmas wallpaper. So I just used my fingernail to score where I need to cut, and now I'm cutting this down to size to fit right on that white part. I'm going to mist my decoupage paper, and then I am going to apply DIY liquid patina. I either always use this or Fusion transfer gel. I'm using this one because it's a bit more liquidy, and I really want it to get in all the fibers of that fabric so that this is really stuck down well. So I lay it down in place and I use my fingers to smooth it out, and then I'm going to go over it with another layer of the liquid patina, and I'm going to continue this all the way around the box. This paper does have two different patterns, so I am going to do this plaid pattern on the bottom part, and I'm cutting around all the little places, the little lock and such. And then I'm going to repeat the same process, use that liquid patina, put a healthy coat down over that fabric, and then continue with my misted decoupage paper. I like to mist mine because it reduces wrinkles. I wouldn't have a problem with wrinkles, I don't think, on this fabric, but by misting it, it allows those fibers to be stretched enough, and it's so easy to not have any wrinkles. And I am going to continue doing the same technique all over everywhere that there is fabric on the box. And I only did one layer of the white paint underneath, and I did have a little bit of those images bleed through. I did all the time plan on putting some transfers over this anyway, so I feel like that is not going to be a problem. Initially, I was going to do just the gold gilded, but then I caught these birds from an old transfer book out the corner of my eye, and I felt like they were so perfect for this box. And again, if you've never used an Iron Orchid Designs transfer, they are the absolute easiest way to transform any project. You don't even have to paint. You can just put this right on it. You can also do it over decoupage paper because remember, we sealed that in really well and it is good and dry now. So you just use the tool that comes with the transfer pack and rub it in, and then you'll want to burnish it on with your fingertips or with the backing when you get it done. So I went a little nuts, or maybe I didn't, with transfers on these, and I did a mixture of the gold gilded. I did lots of holly and stuff. I just really filled it up with transfers pretty much all the way around. So now everything is done, and there were a few little white spots around the edges where you could see some of that white paint. I don't want to see that, so I'm using some dark wax to fill that in, and also it will seal in those transfers. Before we get to this final reveal, though, I want to tell y'all that I have spent all afternoon trying to get Christmas items listed on the home decor section of SusieOnTheFarm.com. So don't forget to look at that if you're needing some vintage or upcycled items. Make perfect, unique gifts. And now here is our final box reveal, and I think this one might be my favorite. It's just very busy and so unique, and it's a good size box. It's really big, and all of these are available in that home decor section, so y'all be sure and visit that. And don't forget, you can get all your painting products there at Susie on the Farm too. I appreciate you guys so much watching my videos and shopping my websites, coming to my whatnot sales, and even coming here to the store to visit me. Thank y'all so much, and I will see you again next week.